So when you brainstorm, you distill it down to first phase, second phase, third phase, and then the other stuff that just has to be revisited because it's a bit pie in the sky, interesting, needs a better relook for later. So what you'll notice is all of that is process. You're facilitating a process.
Yeah.
You're not putting everything on your shoulders. You see, it's not for you to create the impossible. It's for you to facilitate into the possible that previously felt impossible.
Ooh, that's a good.
Because isn't that really what's always happening?
Yeah.
You know how our perception is so fallible? It's like we're always thinking things are not possible. It's like, why? Because we've got so many hidden, loaded bias assumptions that just, that strangely create rules of what we're supposed to be that isn't really realistic or necessary. So, you know what would be really interesting? Understanding why you thought it was impossible.
Because, okay, this is why I think it was impossible. Number one, I work in a different section of the business where we're siloed. All we have to do is do this one thing, right? But now I have to understand the actual, be on the ground sort of person, understanding it from start to finish. So if you think about building a building, right? I used to be the guy in IT where I would go, oh, okay, let's, this is, these are the computers that you need and all that. But now I have to think about how do I build this building without any architecture experience, just understanding the touch points, getting, what's the process from start to finish?
Mm-hmm.
Who are the contact points there?
Mm.
What are their processes and their handover points? And where I can find AI to leverage that can be used to improve the process.
Mm.
And it's almost like an outsider, because I have known nothing about architecture.
Mm.
And I have to figure out the whole process. Oh, you got to do this first. You got to submit the permit. You got to, get the building engineers in. Oh, and then you get this. So understanding the entire flow and then going, okay, where best can I leverage AI in this process? So it requires time to sit with these people and understanding every step. And then, like you said, understanding their problems. But I think one of the tricks that I don't understand is contextualizing it in terms of AI. Do I ask them? Where do you think AI can assist? Anyway, that's a separate topic. Just that time frame of 2 weeks is just, plus my day job, to me feels impossible. And I think they did that on purpose just to stretch you because, you work better when you're time boxed, right? You get more outcomes. So yeah, that's why I thought it was impossible. And yeah, does that answer your question though?
Yeah. Now, when they put that deadline to achieve that, who was asked to make sure it happens? You and who else?
The whole team, essentially.
How many of you are there?
7.
Are there any people who are critically needed to be involved?
Yes.
Who have not been told about that deadline?
No.
So each division through that whole touch point.
Oh, no, they haven't been told yet. No.
So they have to be told as soon as possible.
Correct.
With a full brief of get ready to be engaged.
That's right.
Because
the stakeholder map.
Because their bosses want this by this day.
Yeah. That's a good one.
So when should that be happening?
ASAP.
Yeah.
So it's just in my brain, it's just like all these different touch points, no clue whatsoever, complete unknown. And there is that fear of, where do I go? Where, how do I do this in 2 weeks? And so now it's just breaking it down into small steps, check piece-sized meals for me to go, okay, I'm going to seek advice as well. This is the people I want to engage with. Am I missing anyone? And then, like you said, project brief, bang. I need to talk to this person to understand this problem, and then focus on the 3 touch points where I think we're going to provide value, and then go understand their problems.
Well, maybe this podcast is, remember I said to you, why do you think it's impossible, right? It's because there is hidden philosophical rules you're living by that are unnecessary. And I think one of them is you get over-responsible.
You're right.
You immediately, energetically hook yourself into an expectation that you're supposed to have the answers.
Yes, correct. I do that all the time.
That's so unfair. Why are you so cruel to yourself, Azlan?
I don't know.
Why? Be kind.
I do that all the time. I always take over. I mean, there's so many people in the team, but somehow I feel like this is my problem. I'm gonna have to fix it. And so,
well, look, I like your personal agency. I like the fact that it puts the fire in your belly to hyper focus.
Yeah.
Because you do want to own something, right? But what snaps that is it deteriorates the quality of your focus, because now you're ramping up the anxiety, and then the brain then starts to be prevented from the process. So you charge yourself to own prioritizing it, and then you debilitate yourself by overcooking the assumptions that it's all on you.
So how should I operate? I don't even. What's the alternative? The alternative is to share the load with the team and sit back. Is that?
Oh, see what your brain just did?
Yeah, I know. It just went the extreme.
Yeah, the other way.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? So I guess the question is, what does the middle look like?
What does the middle look like?
What a lovely question.
I've never thought of that. I've always just gone in. Always.
It's like, it's all me, or it should be someone else, because where's the collaboration? Where's the shared responsibility? Where's the power of synergy? You know what would make you a great leader? Holding the space to let leaders show up everywhere and champion them and let everyone know how good they are as leaders.
This is my opportunity to do that, because I'm in the midst of the best of the best. Right now, we are the best of the best in the org.
Don't compete.
Yeah, no competing.
Yep. No, what I'm saying, energetically for us, if we think we have to be a great leader to prove to them that we're good leaders too, we may find ourselves competing accidentally.
Right.
Right? Don't compete. The more they shine through you, the more you shine like a supernova.
Okay. So now I'm going to take a different approach. I'm going to map it all out and get the leaders. They are leaders in the org, in my team, and get them to say, Azlan, I'll do that, because I've seen it. They inherently take ownership. I've never seen this before. Like that's how they got into this program. Is you say anything, and they're like, I'll do it.
You were sitting on Ferrari horsepower, and you're pretending you're on a tricycle.
On a Yaris. Yeah. Oh man. Okay. Now you flipped my brain, and I'm gonna try to bring. This is my opportunity to finally. I have the Ferrari horsepower. I have to use it. I have to.
Are you a driver?
No.
Or are you a cylinder? Be a driver.
Oh, be a driver.
Be a driver of the horsepower of these guys. Now they're drivers of their own horsepower.
Yeah.
But turn them on, and celebrate their power and get excited about what they bring back.
Right.
And let everyone know how good everyone is. Live there.
That's different, but I'm willing to give it a go. So now to help get to that goal, I need to structure it in a way where they can, like you said, where you can leverage where they want to show up, but to put, these are the opportunities in this space, the concerns. What do we do? And then get them to figure it out. And then if they need help with organizing, coordination, that's my skill set. And so then I can help do all of that. Because I think that's my skill, and I want to explore it. Okay, cool. So now, and
if you ever want to know how to use AI, ask it.
Yeah. That's
if it's that intelligent, it should be able to tell you how to use it.
Yeah.
When you give it enough context of each touch point.
So this brings me to a different topic, which is the limiting beliefs that you have and the assumptions that you have. Like, I wouldn't have known that if I didn't speak to you. So you obviously operate at a different, like not at a pedestal level, but at a different level where you notice.
No. I feel like being on a pedestal today, I felt a little bit vulnerable today. I'm thinking, I need someone to push me up on a pedestal, make me feel better than them, No, you're right. Exactly. It's never a pedestal, even though we're all tempted up and down pedestals, right?
Yeah. No, but it's so interesting how you immediately knew there was a limiting belief there.
Yeah, because I believe in abundance. I believe in imagination to tap into the abundance. I believe in the synergy of teamwork. I believe in the sustainable value exchange. So for me, I already believe I'm in a playground where anything's possible as long as it's meaningful. Because anyone can conjure a meaningless fantasy for adoration. Oh, imagine if I could become a rocket and go to Saturn and show off. Like, anyone can come up with wild ideas, but is it really meaningful? No. Everything that's meaningful that your heart can guide you into is possible.
Meaningful to you as a person.
Yes. And that's a really good point. If you look closely at meaning, it's where you matter to people and they matter to you, where you give value to people and they give value to you, and you're both uplifted by each other. That's meaningful.
Right.
And therefore, every area of life, from, personal roles of being a dad, a partner, a brother, and then at work, colleagues, manager, every role, it's the sustainable value exchange that brings real meaning.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that is the foundation to every goal. And if that goal is aspirational, like, can we leverage AI in lots of our touch points to help us reduce human error, reduce danger, reduce mistakes, reduce big costs and inefficiencies to make us more resilient in the marketplace?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's meaningful, because that's about a value exchange. That's about using tools so that everybody's giving a lot of value in the way they engage.
Right.
So it's meaningful. So I believe it's possible because it's meaningful.
That is so interesting, because what you said before as well about how you believe you're in a playground of infinite possibilities that you can achieve. Isn't that great to live in that space? That's a great place to live.
Yeah, but I had to separate fantasy with heart-based desire.
Right.
Like, anything is possible if you want a world where there's love and you care and you want people to feel amazing and you want to be amazing with them and you want to have new adventures together and you want to innovate into new ways of being. Everything is possible in that world. And I'm happy to be in that world. Not, I have to get on a pedestal, I have to get on a stage, I have to be a rock star, I have to, all this stuff that I need people to love me. So how can I fantasize about being something to eventually win the adoration of the masses or the people that I wished I could feel loved by? That is not a meaningful way to be. That is the wrong world to be in. When I say everything's possible, yeah, but what if everything is possible and you don't want to believe you're good enough? Then you're going to mismanage the possibilities, because you're going to conjure possibilities to plug a hole that doesn't even have to be there. You've created the hole with wrong thinking, and now you think you're going to chase, carrots on a string, for a donkey to never reach. So a lot of people will chase money, they'll chase status and all that, and then they'll wonder why they still feel empty. Mm-hmm. Even though they're achieving those things, they still feel empty. It's like, what is this hole that I'm trying to fill? Because it seems to be big,
Mm-hmm.
It seems to be really, really big. And I'm sick of it. And there's this metaphor that I've been playing around with for a while, and it's to do with the fractal of stars.
Please explain.
Yeah, so a star emanates heat, intense energy, light, and it gives so much, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
A star, it matters. Our sun matters.
Mm-hmm.
None of us would be here without that sun.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now, it gives, doesn't it? Does it receive anything? Doesn't seem to, does it? It just gives.
I don't think it needs anything to. Does it need anything from the universe to generate the heat? No, it's internal.
Something internal is making it perpetually giving.
Yeah.
Now, of course, everything is relative, because theoretically, no stars last forever.
Yeah.
Right? So it's on a different cycle to our little speck of dust human life. Now, let's come down off that fractal to us. When we know we matter and we know we're capable, are we in a good mood?
Yeah, for sure.
Are we very present?
Yeah.
Can we afford the luxury of leaning in and understanding people really well?
In that frame of mind, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
I've already established that, right?
Yeah.
But I know what you're thinking. Yeah, but damn, that frame of mind is hard to crack. Yeah, exactly. But the archetype of the sun, this is what I'm trying to play out, that when we are in the archetype of shining,
Yes.
we're giving because we are not fighting ourselves to matter.
Yeah.
You know?
Like the nuclear reactor. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. You're just flowing.
Correct.
Right? Now, you're giving. Our dilemma is that in the cycle of giving, a sun is on a huge cycle of billions of years.
Yep.
We're on a cycle of seconds and minutes, right? Our cycle is that we can't be a sun of billions of years, but we can be a sun for minutes, days, weeks. In other words, we can afford to give to people without them giving back for reasonable periods of time. So we have different contexts for that. As a parent, you give a lot more to your child than they give back, right? And if anything, it's their cuteness and their development that we celebrate their wins. So maybe there's a consciousness in the sun where it celebrates the life it witnesses through its giving.
Ooh.
I never really thought of that, but it feels beautiful and meaningful to know that everything is an extension of God, the unseen universe. And therefore, why are we trying to make powerful celestial objects non-living and inanimate as if they're just things that do what they do? And then do you know what I mean? Maybe we don't have the mind to connect to their consciousness, maybe, right?
Right.
Anyway, coming back to the giving. So you give, right? And we're on a cycle. Now, what happens to a sun when it finishes its life-giving light and energy and heat?
Well, it explodes, and then everything else that depends on it dies. Is that the right assessment?
You obviously had ADHD at school and just clocked off when they were explaining what happens to suns. They turn into black holes.
Oh, yes. Yeah, they explode, and then they implode, and then they becomes a black hole.
Oh, you remember now.
Yes.
You've brought it back while you were trancing out the window.
Yeah.
Well, I can relate to that. Anyway, now it takes. It's on a cycle where it gave. Now it takes.
Ooh, never really thought of that.
And what does it take? Everything.
Yeah,
It
takes
gave
light.
everything.
Yeah.
Now it takes everything. It takes all the light. It takes all the heat. It takes all the mass. It takes everything. It's like, damn.
Yeah. So what are you trying to get to here?
Maybe suns traumatize into black holes of taking because they're sick of giving now. Maybe they need therapy, intergalactic therapy.
They need someone to talk to them.
Imagine black hole anonymous meetings. I've been a black hole for 37 days.
Maybe there's someone inside, Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that doesn't mean you should stop giving, though. I mean,
No, but it's a cycle.
it's a cycle.
So we have to give and receive.
yes.
So I think the black hole.
I see.
Yeah, the black hole deserves to receive because it gave for billions of years. Come on, cut it some slack, will you?
Yeah. I thought we were going somewhere really dark with that metaphor. And then,
Imagine the sun gives for like 100 billion years, and then it goes, all right, friggin' my turn.
Yeah.
And then it flips and starts taking. And then Azlan shows up and goes, hey, why are you taking so much?
I thought what you're trying to say is you give until you're 50, and then from 50, you demand everything back from everyone. Your son, I gave you this education. You give it back to me in an old folks home that has, serves me caviar. But okay, I get what you're saying. Yeah, the cycle. You're talking more about the cycle.
Yeah. And also,
Giving and
when you
receiving.
played that out, that actually happens. People do feel self-entitled and they do give lectures of they deserve to receive now. And so what happens to us is that if we give a lot and we get to a point where we don't have any more to give, we pull back. And now, if we don't believe we're full and we have everything we need, then all of our energy is around what we can take.
Oh, I know a person like that.
So it presents as selfishness. It presents even, and so let me show you what that looks like. If you go to someone who's suffering, not feeling good enough, low self-esteem, and you share with them a great achievement, it triggers them into being incapable to be happy for you. So you feel your light does not reach them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it did reach them, but they were a black hole. It just went in, you see. Then you can be an act of kindness and they're still flat. Next act of kindness, they're still flat. They're presenting like a black hole.
Yeah.
Because they did give a lot. And society and their inability to negotiate made them collapse.
Right. Right. I see what you're saying. So the cycle, it's not just always giving. It's also about, negotiating your worth and what you need. Like the tree analogy where you talked about, the tree takes from the ground. It doesn't negotiate with the...
Yeah. So if the sun's on 100 billion years or more, what are we on? We're on different cycles based on what we're doing in the giving and receiving.
Yeah.
For example, the cycle of breath. I give carbon dioxide to plants. They give me oxygen. How long can I stay without breathing? You see, that's a very short cycle.
Right.
Right? I give, but I need to receive reasonably quickly there, right?
Yes, yes.
I can be kind to someone and give them money and give them money and give them money, but there's a cycle on limitations there too for it to only be one way.
Yeah, because the sustainable value exchange breaks there.
Are they helping? Are they washing my car? Are they, in other words, is there give and take?
Yeah.
Or is it just all one way? And who is it one way for? Is it a cycle of parenting? I can give for 18 years or more to my child without receiving anything. But even we know we have to train them to reciprocate because otherwise they're not going to be good in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to be careful that we don't spoil the child. But initially we know when they're a baby, they can't give us anything.
Yeah.
And we're okay with that. There's a cycle there. Now, when we're engaging everyday people and trading, that sustainable value exchange is the giving and receiving. But if we complicate it and if we doubt our self-worth, we become a black hole, not good at negotiating because we don't even feel like we deserve.
Yes. Yes. The self-doubt stops you from believing that you are worth it and therefore you don't negotiate as a result of it.
Yeah. So someone comes along and says, you matter. I know you can do this. And the person goes, I'm glad you see it, but I don't feel it and I don't know. So which means no one's evidence matters to you anymore. It's the light that just goes into the black hole.
Yeah, it goes flat.
Yeah. Oh, here's an idea you could use. If you use this idea, it will change your situation. It's like, yeah, for some reason I've decided that no ideas can change my situation.
So in the previous example, if you said use AI to figure it out, I could have gone. If I thought, there's no chance, that's not going to work. And this whole thing is just full of...
Yeah. You could have created a pseudo logic around...
It's not possible.
Yeah, but AI is very... It makes mistakes and I can't afford to be embarrassed.
Yeah.
So you could have easily twisted it into a black hole experience where you just got it
done.
It's finished. It's gone into oblivion, that idea.
So to avoid being a black hole, you have to be in a mindset where you think it is possible.
Well, maybe that's the fourth domino that falls. But the first domino is I matter and I'm capable of light and heat and energy and receiving.
Capable. It's a very big word there.
Yeah. Now, here's the kicker. What happens to a black hole in the end?
I actually don't know. I need to read up on Neil Tyson, whatever that guy name is. What happens to a black hole? It disappears?
It eventually becomes a supernova and births new stars.
Really?
Yeah. Why is that?
Wait, hold up. So it creates new stars, like new suns and new galaxies?
Yes.
What?
Why is that the case?
Because it took so much and now it's giving back.
It feels guilty. The guiltiverse.
The guiltiverse. Why is that?
Oh, look, I'm putting my own
spin
interpretation on it. Yeah. I think it's because when you have the full cycle of giving and receiving, you become wise to gift that opportunity for more things, to learn that opportunity. Because the fullness of a star is it gave, and boy, did it know how to give in a spectacular fashion to create life, and then it knew how to take. Damn, that thing could swallow light and
Everything.
mass and make everything disappear to other things in its own. But did it really disappear? No, it was in another dimension.
It's so interesting.
So a black hole, we say things go into nothing, but no, it went beyond our comprehension. It was taking everything internally, and then what was it happening?
Getting
it was
ready.
synthesizing the wisdom of receiving everything, and then kaboom!
I feel embarrassed that I know this. I only know this at 40 years old. How did I not know that?
You feeling Are you feeling a bit black hole-ish?
Yeah,
right?
I'm feeling a bit black hole-ish. I really didn't know that it actually came back. I thought it was just. I thought eventually there's going to be a bunch of black holes and we're all going to be sucked into it. All of us are going to die. There was, there's this idea that the universe is expanding, and then eventually
it wants its money back.
Yeah, it wants its money back, and so then it. What do you call it? Contracts.
Yeah.
So I thought the black hole was one of the reasons why it's contracting, is because it's sucking everything back in and then it contracts. I didn't know black holes expand again and explode.
Yeah. So the universe is constantly expanding. And it's constantly expanding, and the cycles of expansion, contraction are a part of, because look, when a star births new stars, that's net effect, huge exponential expansion. When it took for a while, right? Did it take the same as it birthed? I don't think so. But I'm just
Right.
You know what I mean? Because we are talking about the conceptual ideas are ideas, and abundance is abundance. Like, for example, water. We go, oh, we're running out of water. Are we? Or just water's changing form and adding salt to it in the ocean, and that's not good to us. And so therefore maybe we need to capture more water in the form without salt when it rains that cleanses it from the salt. Maybe we need to do that more. So this is not about, we know it's the same water. Just like energy can't be destroyed. It just keeps changing form, right? So I believe expansion is not the material expansion. It's the conceptual expansion of the imagination of experiencing life in infinite ways. So it's about a new form of being to experience, And so I think the universe expanding is just...
It's a great metaphor.
It's an imagination. It is a great metaphor, because what this means is that if you decide you matter and you look at everybody and you go, I respect the black hole dilemma of being human in me and in everyone else, it means you now are ready to give a level of leadership, authentic, loving, that births new stars, because everybody starts to experience levels of giving from you that helps them become great.
Wow. That is so profound. There is hope, essentially.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to change my view on black hole-ish people now. No, I'm serious. Because I always thought they're all
so beautiful.
I always thought, black holes, they're gone case, they're going to disappear. But then now, if with the right advice, the right people, the right influence, they can birth new stars.
Yeah.
That if that's not leadership, I don't know what is. You know?
Yeah. And so if your black hole is being triggered by other people's black hole, in other words, a competition for taking, you'll sink each other.
Yeah, no, yeah.
So the danger there, so how do you know you're ready to be a supernova? In other words, be all in on wanting people to feel their value, feel their capability, and create a platform for them to shine so brightly. You see, a supernova is not concerned with its shine. It's concerned with everyone else's shine. It no longer second guesses its value and its shine. If we can reach that, wow. Imagine what humanity would be like if we can reach a level of self-belief so that when we're giving, we're really giving. But like I said, we are works in progress. So if anything triggers us into a black hole experience, we have to honor what wisdom comes from that around where we're at in the black hole experience. So don't be in denial of the black hole in us. Don't be in denial of it. Because if you are, we prolong it.
This is a good segue to an observation I made as a result of this leadership course.
Yeah.
Was, you know how in our deconstructs, we're talking about black holes now and that feeling of inadequacy or whatever that black hole feeling is.
Yeah.
I noticed, obviously you brought it to my attention as well, that I am, when I'm doing the deconstructs, I always avoid the negative.
Yeah.
Like I would give out a big sigh. Here we go. Let's go just do this.
Yeah.
Because my whole life, I've been avoiding toxic people and negative thinking. Like if there was news, I haven't watched the news for 10 years. I don't go anywhere near anyone who's negative. But I do that to myself too. And this is what happens.
That's profound.
I use alcohol. So alcohol is a very complex relationship in my life. So a bottle of wine, okay? I use it as a reward system and as a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
And so it becomes an addiction. Because when I'm in a good mood, everything's working out well, I get a promotion, whatever, I'm going to get that bottle of wine. It may be more expensive. I might get a $60 bottle of wine, but it's still a bottle of wine. When I feel, and then I looked at what triggers me to drink. One of it is stress, numbs the pain from work.
Yeah.
The other is a black hole feeling. So when I feel like there's negativity, I immediately pour myself a glass of wine because I'm trying to escape that negativity. So I said, okay, reward aside, let's keep that there. But let's look at this black hole thing. Why do I get so hard on myself? It's because I've not accepted that black hole as an emotion, as a valid thing in my being. It's almost like you are not part of me. What are you doing here? Get out. And then I sat down the other day at the park and I went, it's okay to feel like this. It's okay to be sad. It's okay. And that changed things for me, at the park. So I went, this black hole is me, That was what's so interesting. That's why it was a good segue, because I had trouble. I've always pushed negative people away. Just don't even talk to me. I have no time for you. I've got too many things on, and I did that to myself. And so it's just projecting outside. And so now what's going to change is seeing people and myself as a black hole, accepting it.
As part of the journey, like we're undoing the black hole and we want the light to shine.
The supernova after that.
Yeah.
So now that's the missing piece of my journey. Oh, I'm getting goosebumps now. It's literally accepting the black hole as part of the phase, like the cycle, and then knowing, hey, you know what? I'm going to be a supernova. That person's going to be a supernova. And that's going to change my way of dealing with negative people. It's because there's a supernova in there somewhere. Damn. Wow, that's full circle for me. I was going to talk about that afterwards, but you've put it in that metaphor is just perfect for me. Perfect where I am right now.
See, Azlan, when we talked about fractals, and I said, like even in step 1 of EP7, why are fractals so important? Is because when you pay attention to the patterns of something, and you go, is there wisdom in other contexts of that fractal pattern? Because a proper fractal pattern is meant to be able to spin its expression into all contexts, from the micro to the macro, right?
Right.
So then we did that in this session. We just went, look at the way a star becomes a black hole and then becomes a supernova. Where are we at with our journey? And we found it, and the dots started to join. And then you saw your dots, you were joining them just then, and you were going, oh my gosh, I'm getting goosebumps. This is activating me into a level of awareness that makes me feel different about myself and different about my existence and different about everything around me. Like this, we leveraged a fractal.
Yeah, the fractal, the pattern.
We leveraged a fractal to discover truth and wisdom and joy right under our nose all along.
Is that why you use nature? You use a lot of nature in your fractals, from the tree taking and receiving, and then the universe.
Yeah.
So that's where you get your inspiration from. And that to me is foolproof. Tell you why, because it's nature. It works.
Millions of years of evolution, galaxies of evolution, celestial bodies, stars, supernovas, like that, you know, when you see a supernova caught in a beautiful shot, like you just stare at it and go, wow, we are less than a speck of dust in that. Like it's hard to fathom the magnitude of a supernova.
Yeah.
We're in this little Milky Way, and then you look at the supernova and you go, oh, see that little blotch there in the enormity of the supernova? That's a Milky Way.
Right.
And here we are in our own little solar system, which is a blip from a Milky Way. Like it's just the magnitude of the universe, the multiverse we're in. And we're also only talking about what visible light spectrum exposes. What about every other frequency spectrum decoded? Which means the universe is so multidimensional, you can explode into more depth in all directions, our existence. And yet here we are, less than a speck of dust, but designed with the same fractals of it all.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Do you have an imagination? Yes. Do you have desire? Yes. Are you aware of yourself? Yes. Do you have the free will to choose what form to move into? Yes. Interesting.
Very.
The fragment of the universe, fractal extension of the universe, is in every one of us.
Now you got me so inspired now to figure out what are the other fractals or patterns out there, like dolphins. Like surely there's something more that we can look at. Like you've only given me 2 and it's blown my mind. Like, can you imagine all the other, like you said, light, even that experiment where it shoots out is perception.
Oh, the double slit.
Yeah.
Thought experiment, quantum physics.
Yeah.
Just the act of observing changes the behavior of a subatomic particle. Does it behave like energy as a wave, or does it behave like a particle mass?
Yes.
Is it dots on the projector, or is it lots of dots in a wave pattern, which means it's behaving as both at the same time?
Yeah.
And based on what you're observing will determine how it behaves. It's very powerful. Double slit experience. Yeah. You know, one of the simplest.
I'm so curious now.
Yeah. One of the simplest fractals for me in nature is a very popular one. And it's the caterpillar becoming a butterfly. Because like that whole understanding of you are a, creature with short, stumpy legs, and you're trying to hide from being eaten by, certain things, but you can't fly away from the ground. So you're more susceptible to just being picked off really quickly. Mm-hmm. Mind you, butterflies are delicious to a lot of animals and they can get captured. But anyway, at some point, this creature within its acceptance is that it withdraws from that form and weaves a cocoon to be in the darkness away from everything, to surrender that identity and become a new form with wings and long legs.
Surrender that identity.
Yeah.
Surrender. That is a big word.
It is, because imagine and go, oh, what's happening to me? I'm a caterpillar. I'm losing myself. I'm just a caterpillar and I'm going to become nothing. No, there's an entity that's superior that knows it's not the identity. Identity means you get to use any ideas to shape the form for the experience, which means can you embrace yourself to be so powerful that you are an entity that can move into any form of ideas for the experience.
You choose which butterfly you want to be, essentially.
And practically, what does that look like every day? Someone comes and has a go at your opinion, your view, your idea for something. They have a go at it. They don't like it. How do you react? You see, if you know you are not the ideas, they're just a form for the experience, you're not going to feel attacked.
Yeah.
You're not going to feel like you have to defend it blindly. You can have the presence to want to understand their experience of it and what motivates their experience of it. Then you get to decide what you want to do with it. Oh, you know what? I want to keep that idea because I can see why you don't like it and I don't agree with the reasons why you don't like it. But what happens to us is we have a visceral, primal reaction almost as if the ideas that shape the form of who we are is actually really us. So how are we going to transform from one form to another when we're too busy defending the form we're in as if that's really us?
Therefore, the surrendering comes in. That's where the surrendering comes in.
Yeah. And so if you can bring yourself to surrender and go, this is where trust and faith, I think, kicks in for us. If I can surrender and let everything go of who I am that can be let go, what would be left I'm going to honor as the entity of me that can keep what matters and reshape into what will matter more. Like, that's some trust there. Because if you believe that you have been designed where if you surrender, you're going to lose all the goodness and the universe is going to laugh at you. He just surrendered being a caterpillar and now he's just a piece of poo. Like that doesn't make, do you know what I mean? It's like, are we going to be tricked in our humility to be letting go of the tension and the attachment to who we think we have to be? Do we think that there's nothing beautiful at the center to release to, that dynamic version of us that can be anything?
To release to.
Yeah. And are we going to insult, if you're religious, God, or, if you're spiritual, universe, or even as an atheist? Like, do you really think that the unseen, spectacular intelligence that brought us into existence and awareness with free will and imagination, that we can surrender and we're going to go into a pile of crap?
Yeah.
Like, none of it makes sense. And so I took a risk. I took a risk because it feels like a risk initially, right? Because you don't know for sure. But, I did put a line in the sand in my life at one point. And the line in the sand was, if the universe is not as loving and abundant and beautiful and spectacular as I feel it is, then I don't care. I'll find out. And if it wants to quash me into nothing because it doesn't give a shit, I don't care. I'm going to pretend, it's not really pretending, I'm just going to give the universe the biggest benefit of the doubt ever. I'm going to assume it's brilliant.
And then you're going to surrender and release to it.
And now I'm a child of a loving existence, not a threatening existence. Very different.
Very different.
And that's why I call it the playground.